Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to, ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon lights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free, yeah. Time to get myself together, now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather, better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy, the carbon light is gone. I'm moving on, I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride, I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my Falcon, Wookie at my side. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. I'm hunting solo.
Okay, I can see you have some skills, but now it's my turn.
Here we are. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
So we and you and I both have Valentine's, so we're not, we got Zoe and I did a live podcast during the Super Bowl, and it freaked a bunch of people out. So, well, she was doing she wanted to do an episode about Overwatch, and
Okay.
so we did that. It was fun, but people were like, "Don't you watch football?" I was like, I was getting texts on my phone. People that normally don't even talk to me, all of a sudden I like broke whatever code you're supposed to. I guess I look like someone who watches football. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got the sports hat on and everything. And tonight we already got 2 watchers. This is fantastic.
I know, right? So
John should be jealous.
John, well, unless it's maybe John's Valentine's date was to go there and watch the show. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to tell us.
He didn't want to tell us. He wanted to see it from the outside.
That is a good plan. So, so before we get started, we're going to talk about. I even put it on the thing. It was it love, trust, and relationships?
That works.
No, I think that's what you typed.
Well, I don't type good.
I think that's what you typed. Let me see. Hang on. Whoops.
It's definitely possible. Those are my words.
Love, trust, and relationships. That's what you said.
All right.
That's your words, not mine. I would have just said love stuff, but but before we start, where can people find you? Because we always keep forgetting to cross promote. Where can people find you?
So you can find when I'm not on this show, or as a guest on the Beskar Bucket or Star Wars Geek Girl, you can find me on the Rambling Star Wars Fan, and I have now out 12 episodes, including 2 that I recorded or released last week for Star Wars Podcast Day.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And
You're TikTok famous.
Huh?
You're TikTok famous.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok as Hinton Star Wars Family. YouTube I share that with Zoe with Star Wars Geek Girl, and on Instagram Hinton Star Wars Family, and Mike Hinton on Facebook, and then there's SW Geek Girl is on Instagram, and Zoe's stuff. So hopefully, and I'm still pondering the re-emergence of Karita Cast, but we'll see. That's just, I think that's one of those things. Once I pull the cork, it'll just all come to me. I just have to make that step. But yeah, so that's I think that's where you can find me. We got a chat already? Wait a minute.
Yeah, we've got.
Is our chat working too?
Yeah, Fordo and Joshua.
All right.
And is it Joshua or Josh? I feel
I always call him Belfort. You know what I mean? Because I work with him. But yes, I guess it's Josh. But we could call him Joshua. Yeah. I think the song it has to be on something because we keep getting copyright infringement for the song. So
well, that's because we're just troublemakers.
Well,
that's what it really comes down to.
but it also proves that we're not doing this for the big lucrative YouTube bucks.
Yeah.
So, but
And Zoe has offered to explain Overwatch to me. I'm not sure if I'll get it in 2 hours, but
well, so the podcast me and her did were 2 hours long of her explaining it, and I think what Zoe has to do next is she needs one of those like from every crime show where they have the pictures and the strings.
oh,
You know, like
well, that's every episode that I ever put together. It's like
yeah,
we start here and over there, and
I
next thing
need
you
her
know,
in like a room where she's just running around, putting that in there. And and Zoe said we have about an hour left to go. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, because the game it's not Star Wars related, but there's a lot of people that do Star Wars that voice some of the characters.
okay.
And then there is some homage to some of the sci-fi and stuff like that with the name in the game. So it's a neat game. It's not a hard game. I mean,
Is
it's
it
a
like Fortnite, just where you run around and
it's
try to
yeah,
eliminate others?
it's a little it's just smaller fields and it has a little more of a backstory, so
Okay.
some of the characters are really cool. Yeah, here we go. There's another voiceover from Zoe right here. So, but that's it was a fun show. I mean, it is nice to kind of step out of your fandom that you know so much about sometimes, because it made me think of, okay, Zoe was telling me all the stuff I didn't know. So I want to be careful. Like if I can do it, how she did that for me, I want to do that for Star Wars for people.
Okay.
Because sometimes you and I were like, oh, TK and Mando this and Mando Mercs that. And we're just talking in our own language. And people are like, what are they talking about? So between Zoe doing that and working with Josh, Josh is my first nerd friend I've had at work for a long time, other than Chris Bancells from Old Line Garrison, but he moved to a different county. So I have some Star Wars, because teachers sometimes aren't the best people to when I first started doing the 501st before the new movies came out, they looked at me like I was like one step away from being a mental patient, which maybe I am, but so.
Well, with that in mind, do you want to talk costume corner?
Yeah, that's what I was like stall talking while I was looking. Where's my costume corner? Oh, here we go. Where's my costume corner thing? I was trying to do segue so I could just go to.
Yeah, that was well placed actually.
I was trying to do my costume corner here. Let me knock this chat out, which I'm glad everyone's jumping in. Please jump in. And
it
here.
Sounds like, just based on what Zoe's putting in the chat, sounds like that there's much more to it than just animated characters, and that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just like Star Wars in the sense that if you like something, it gives you something to do when you can't do the actual thing you like. Like we all can't sit down and watch a Star Wars movie or a show all the time. That work thing always gets in the way of that kind of stuff. But there's so many more avenues, and and I'm not a real weapons person, but like fake weapons, I really enjoy, like the aesthetics of how. I think Star Wars does such a cool thing with them, and the aesthetics of like there's a Western style lever action rifle in Fortnite that are not in Fortnite in Overwatch that I just want to 3D print because it looks like
the file has to exist somewhere.
Oh, it does
right?
exist, and I think it's probably in my file hoard. But I'm thinking, how can I just tweak this just enough to make it a Mando rifle?
Oh well, with custom Mando, that's easy.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
awesome.
What I'm saying. Like what can I do to just tweak some, put some mythosaur skulls on it here, and this kind of rangefinder stuff like that.
Well, there are two things that will make it simple: Greeblies and scopes.
Greeblies, just stick a scope where there's no way it would ever work, and that's where they put them. So
well, there was one. I thought maybe was Chewie's bowcaster at one time. Didn't it have 2 scopes
It
on it?
has 2 scopes, yeah, it has 2 scopes.
So that kind of thing.
Marty has a beautiful bowcaster, but do you ever feel how heavy that sucker
Oh yeah, I
is?
think it's like 42 pounds.
Yeah, because he 3D printed one. He has one in his garage because he wants to make one to carry. Because you
Yeah.
can't carry that thing around. But yeah, costume corner, Ken. What are you building?
So this isn't really costume corner, but it is workbench related. So I have a goal of getting my pit droid done for Fan Expo. That
Nice.
way, if things go smoothly, I will be a member of the droid builders. Because
Okay.
from what I understand, you build any droid,
Yeah.
you,
Oh
you,
yeah.
you get to be a member of the droid builder. So that's my goal, is to get my pit droid done um, before May.
That sounds doable. Which remind me, but when we're done this, we'll talk about it before we go to something else. That makes me think of something I was thinking about today when I was in the garage.
Okay.
Anything else you're building?
Um, I'm de- so I know that we've talked a bunch of times about working on a season 1 Din Djarin,
Yeah.
and I also have many pieces for a custom Mando, a post Imperial custom Mando, and I'm thinking about putting a little bit more time into that as well.
Nice.
And I'm debating whether I buy the Cos Sky or Cosplay Sky soft parts this weekend, or not, for the season 1 Din.
Yeah. Yeah,
How
that's a
about
nice
you?
suit.
What kind of things have you been working on?
Well, I still worked on the templates for my Keeley. They're sitting out right on the other side of the table. I should have cut the foam yesterday, but we had a snow day and my motivation was like really low. but I've been working on this wrecker helmet for Josh actually. And so
Well, according to Josh, you're also making a Jawa costume.
according to Josh, his son is going to wear the Jawa. His son is going to wear. We have to make sure that those Jawa costumes are highly valued in this household. So, but uh, his son, though we could do that. What we could do is we could do the kid Tuscan for his son, the little guy
Yeah.
that Boba saves. Um, but yeah, we're going to put him into Jawa and take some pictures when he comes over.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, would your Jawa costumes be considered heirlooms? Like,
They, I've talked to the girls, and Zoe can, if she's watching, can chime in. And I've talked to them about some of like what's your most valuable possessions. Like we're not really possession people here, and the Jawas come up. Like this Jawa costumes, I don't think those costumes will ever not be owned by my daughters. So, um, I mean, because that was like their gateway drug or whatever. That was every weekend when they were younger. We were doing something, and they were Jawas. I
yeah, I
mean,
mean, some people are, they get in bowling leagues,
yeah.
or traveling soccer competitions or ice capades or whatever. You just got, you know, cosplay.
Oh yeah, I miss the Jawas. I miss the girls as Jawas.
Well, it
Um,
seems like Tuscans and Jawas have had a renaissance of sorts. Now I see a lot of, normal sized adult humans dressing like Jawas, and well, I guess Tuscans have always been normal sized adult humans, but
yeah.
to see
Well,
a 240-pound Jawa coming running at you trying to steal your stuff, that can be a little unnerving sometimes.
yeah. I'm a little snobbish towards the adult sized Jawas. That's just me. Mainly because honestly, and this is one of those things. This is one of those things where the uh, the downside to sometimes of the costuming is when the girls reached a certain height, not very high, but my girls are thin, and adults just started somewhat jokingly saying, "Aren't you a little tall for a Jawa?" Stuff like that. And so for adults you don't mind, but for kids, it's a little it's a little more hurtful sometimes than you realize.
Yeah, especially if the adults don't realize it's a kid in there.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, Heather could be a Jawa now. I mean, she's only 5 foot something.
yeah, no, I'm just the kids move like Jawas. The I don't know. I'm just a little biased towards to I like the kids. I just think that was like that cool costume for the kids to kind of be in
Yeah. See,
and treat.
now you're blast door gatekeeping. That's what it is.
I know, I know. I don't want to gatekeep against adult Jawas, but the Jawa, it's a fun costume, and the Tuscans another one. Um, man,
And
what's it?
it seems like every time we get together, I forget that I'm working on another one of those costumes. I still have
Yeah.
bits and pieces for my Tuscan that have to be
Oh
finished.
yeah, yeah. The drunk Zoe forgot about the drunk dads at baseball games. Yeah, we learned early on that you leave baseball games pretty early back in the day because there would be drunken grown-ups trying to attack Jawas, and we went to a picnic one time where there was no parents watching the kids, and the kids were trying to steal the Jawas' guns and tear their masks off and stuff. So you're like, we gotta get out of here too,
Oh,
you know.
geez.
So, but yeah, so and then I'm working. Yeah, I'm working on the wrecker helmet, and then I'm actually printing another one right now. Um,
Like a complete one?
yeah, because the one that pieces together, I'm not happy with the piece together. So I think I'm going to make it look like it was pieced together really bad on purpose, and then just make it look like a rusty old helmet, like just look like an old rusty training helmet
Yeah.
or something like that,
It'd make a great
like a junkyard
display
piece.
crop
Yeah.
display prop.
So that's my plan for that one. Yeah,
And for the record, I had posted a picture over the weekend of me working on stuff. it was
I saw that.
it was painter's tape and pliers and stuff. Because what had happened is there's the one piece of the droid that has a ring on the top with a rod, and somehow I managed to break it.
I have more of those. I actually
So
have more. Look, my light stopped blinking finally. Um, I have more of those. I probably have a half dozen of those printed.
oh,
So I
so
can
what
get.
I was doing was I was super gluing it, and unfortunately, when I got myself set up to put the stuff together, all of my tools are in our storage unit, and so I had to make do with what I had. So I had a red solo cup, painter's tape, regular pliers from Heather's toolbox, and I just made do holding it so that the rod was vertical, so I could glue the ring on top.
Yeah, well, a lot of times when I break 3D prints, I also run a piece of something through them.
Yeah,
Like
well,
you.
unfortunately, the holes in that, because
Oh,
I
we're
thought
going
the
the other
same thing.
way.
No, the holes were going the right way. The only problem is the diameter was so small. I was thinking that I'd use like the thin wire clothes hangers that
Oh
you
yeah,
get with
yeah,
dry cleaners.
yeah.
I tried to use that, but even that was the
Uh,
diameter was too big, and I
well,
didn't have any
again,
toothpicks or
I have
anything.
a bunch of those. I have if you need one, because the that's what I was thinking. I was thinking when you get close to this is what wanted you to remind me of. When you get close to a fraction of your goal to 1977, right? Like say, I don't know what you're going to use as your goal. Are you using followers on
S-
Facebook, followers, whatever?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to create a scorecard, and it's
Yeah.
just going to be total. I'm going to have all of those things added up.
So I'm thinking when you hit a benchmark or something, when you like a big benchmark, like 500 or 1,000 or something,
Hmm.
we should print before that, print another pit droid, and you can give the pit droid away. We can do a random giveaway
Yeah.
for one of your subscribers. So just somehow you got to figure out how they can like
Yeah.
say like when you hit that number, you need okay, whoever leaves you a review or signs up, like Zoe, she has a newsletter on her website. So we did it where everyone that signed up for the newsletter got a thing, and we made a spinner. You can put a spinner, we put it in a spreadsheet, and we spun it live, and someone won a helmet.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Hmm.
So, and that's where
Definitely
you
think it
might
would
want
be
to,
fun to do something like that.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You think of a number, like a big number, and I'll start 3D printing some droid parts. You can custom paint one
Or
because
even maybe a statuette. Maybe we can do like a Gonk droid
we could do
statuette.
it. We could, yeah. It doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
those files print pretty easy now that I printed those when I had one printer. Now I have many printers. I can print them a lot easier. Or we could do a helmet or whatever you want,
Yeah.
but think about that. Um, so
Yeah, it's a fun idea.
um, yeah, and like I said, talk to Zoe. Like I said, she uses a newsletter to that's like what she does for the subscribers, especially since we lost a lot since we moved from SoundCloud. But however you want to, do it, you could do some kind of subscribers, and they get an additional one for everyone that leaves a review on iTunes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'd have to figure out how to, because I am awful keeping track of things, so figure out a way of being able to, keep track of who submitted what or who did what so that,
Yeah.
um,
Well, you could put a Google form and just say, look, if you left a review, put your review name and then give me your name, and they submit. So then you just get it put in a spreadsheet. Then you don't have to do the work. So
yeah, that's even a better idea.
so
What's
um,
that phrase that managers say? Oh yeah, work smarter, not harder.
yes, work smarter, not harder. Well, and again with podcasts, unless you're like super cream of the crop, and even the ones that are making okay money, you spend just as much as you make when it comes to what you have to pay for hosting this and time, and so I'm never going to get out of the podcasting hole. I don't think, though, because I mean, like I said, SoundCloud used to be like 100 and almost $200 a year just to host your, till Anchor came along, and I was like.
Yeah, and until something changes with that.
Well, they have two tiers now. Anchor has the one we use, which is no cost, and then I forget there's another one, another step up, where they'll actually feed commercials onto your feed,
Oh wow.
and that costs you money, which doesn't make sense to me because someone's paying for commercials and you're paying to have commercials put on yours. So I don't understand the logistics of that part, but I don't know. Maybe you just get more playtime. Um, so. But yeah, that's my costuming. The Wrecker helmets. The Wrecker helmet's fun. It again, it was a little not as smooth as I would have liked the print. So I started printing. I guess it's like the third or fourth one now.
And is that season 1 or season 2 record?
That's the season 1 Wrecker. I don't know if the helmet's much different. I think it's a paint scheme on that.
Okay.
But I think the Bad Batch season 1 is kind of like the recognizable. Like it's like stormtroopers. Like everyone. If you see a New Hope stormtrooper, you know it's a stormtrooper. If you see like Return of the Jedi or Empire, like especially a helmet for Empire, you're like something just seems slightly off, but I don't know what it is because it has the black, the black
The
mouth.
black frown.
Yeah, and then the Return of Jedi has the plastic stripping around it, so it looks like the rubies thing.
It amazes me how from season to season, they will modify. They'll make small modifications,
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's like Filoni and the team just messing with us, knowing that
Oh.
cosplayers will go out and build it or whatever.
Yeah, I felt that way with Sabine because I felt like really like they would have, and then they would just it would just be random stuff that made no sense. Let's just change. Let's just skew the color just a little bit.
Especially because the other piece of that I find amusing is they don't. We know time has elapsed between this
Yeah.
and that. They don't bother to mention it. They just do it, even though it doesn't add to the story. It does. It's
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I painted it different so I could blend in. I used to be the purple Mando. Now I'm the maroon Mando, so no
Well,
one knows who I am.
I think the only time she painted her armor that made sense was when Vader deflected the bolt back at her, and I believe it hit the chest plate. And so then the chest plate, like Zoe's one chest plate, I had to put a mark on it like it was hit and changed it. But yeah, you're right. It was just, but that was, that's the joy of costume people here. So
And it's funny that you've now have managed to convert Josh into paying attention to it too.
oh yeah. I feel what's Zoe tell me? Look, Zoe's correcting me.
It hit both
Oh,
pieces.
and her helmet. Okay, yes, yeah. So that did kind of explain the thing. Yeah, I hope I didn't ruin Star Wars for Josh, but because now you look at it with a different eye when you're looking at costumes.
Well, it's funny. I haven't said much about it, but my next episode is going to be the beginning of a mini series about the what Star Wars inspires people to do, and one of those things is pay attention.
Yeah,
I mean, you pay attention to things, whether it's you pay attention to the little details in a helmet, or the fact that in this movie poster of Ray, you see a Phillips head
I know,
a
I know.
Phillips head screw.
Or the guys who were arguing about zippers.
Yeah,
Remember the zipper gate? They're like,
yeah,
"There's no zippers in Star Wars."
yeah,
That's a
yeah. No zippers and no was it buttons? Yeah, but definitely zippers was a big thing.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, this was what Josh told me today. We're stewards, not gatekeepers.
Ah, okay.
So,
What about bouncers? Are we Are we Star Wars
well, I think
bouncers?
Josh is built more for the bouncer type. Josh could be the bouncer type. I can't wait to when Josh gets full into the costuming.
Well, we should invite Josh along to some of these events, either
Yeah.
as a squire, as a guest of the show.
Yeah. Hey, do you think we'll need if we find out for Fan Expo? I wonder how many squires we would need for that.
Well, I think it's going to come down to how many are available with the booth. Because
Yeah.
for last year's Fan Expo, um, so I got there. I helped set up Thursday night. Took Friday off and was there all day Friday. But on Thursday, there was like a handful of badges. Like, here you go. Like,
Well, but I mean, if we get a panel, that's 5 badges right there.
yeah.
So, I mean, or at least. So we'll figure it out.
And one of the ideas I have for a panel, to veer off Costume Corner into,
Yeah. I mean,
another piece, is to do one with podcasting and invite Rob from Bantha Milk Podcast,
yeah. Yeah.
because he's in Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That'd be awesome. You should put that. That's again, I just put in as many. My only variable in that is just whatever Zoe's doing at the time.
yeah,
So,
I've already put in a request to have Friday off from work.
yeah, so I can be there all day Saturday. I can be there Friday night. I probably can't take off Friday or work. Just
Yeah.
but I can be there Friday night. I can be there all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Safi can be there, so we'll make it happen.
And if you're listening, Dan, know that we will gladly man or woman the booth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll have fun with it. I mean, we do have to think about banners. That's like next week. And hopefully John can come down. I don't know what his situation will be by then, but
Yeah, that would be fun.
if John can be, so because we have not done a panel altogether.
No,
Because I've done with John, and I haven't done a panel with John in North America.
you, you haven't done a panel with John in this hemisphere.
In this, on this continent.
Yeah.
So on I guess England is a continent, but it's really the island. So I've only been.
England's not a continent.
I mean, it's part of the European continent.
It's an island.
I know, but isn't it part of the? Isn't it considered part of?
Well, it's part of Europe, yes, but not of the European continent.
Oh yeah, I guess I don't know. Well, I don't know though, because it's
You're a math teacher.
do they
You know
measure
geography.
do they measure continents by land, or is it like the continental shelf that it sits on?
Well, Japan's not part of the
Yeah, but it is on the Asian continental shelf, isn't it?
It's on the Asian continental shelf, but it's not part of the Asian continent.
Okay, all right. I'll take the island. But
So what segment is this?
this is really bad geography / science. Hopefully, no one related to my job is watching this.
Is it your rate? I don't know. Is your rate? What would that?
Okay, I always Zoe is pretty much normally right, so I'm gonna take Zoe's. She took harder classes than me in school, so I'll take.
Yeah, but she's talking about Japan. She didn't mention anything about England.
Well, I'm thinking of Pangea. Okay.
Yeah, where it
Let's
was
go
all
back a
one.
few years to
There was
Pansy.
yeah.
Uh,
We'll go back in time, get in our hot tub time machine,
yeah, yeah.
and go back to when it was all one landmass.
So, all
Be
right. So,
easy.
yeah. So that was. So we don't have. So we have. John's not here because it's Valentine's Day and he's still dating. So you have to do stuff. No, because his is it girlfriend? I don't want to mislabel, but I guess she lives kind of far from him. I don't know. Like, so he
I
can't
mean,
be here tonight.
I think it's just everybody needs a break from us, is what it is.
I could be. I
You know,
could be. It was,
so
it was
so
his
so
turn. It was his
yeah,
turn.
so he's on a break.
Yes, he's on a break. He couldn't handle the subject of what did we
Love,
say?
trust, and relationships.
Love, trust, and relationship. All right, so let's talk about Star Wars love, trust, and relationship. And this is going to be I don't know. I'm always told I make jokes when we talk about love, trust, and relationships. So
Now,
we'll
at the
see.
expense of the relationship, or
No, I
because
just
of the relationship?
no, I don't know.
So for me, one of the things I think is so amusing, and I know I said this to you before the show, and so I'm going to say it again here for everybody else to hear. If you had asked me 6 months ago what I thought about love in Star Wars, I thought what we've had is enough. So the romance between Han and Leia was fine. The romance with Cut and his wife, in the Bad Batch was fine. The only one that I had issues with wasn't even the relationship. It was just how it ended was the smooch between Kylo, or between Ben Solo and Ray. That's the only, thing I had an issue with, because I thought it was weird that it was a smooch and then he died, like in a very weirdly dramatic way that just seemed odd, and then disappeared.
Yeah,
And
that'd probably be a really hard relationship thing to step over. Her next boyfriend's going to have a really hard time.
like, did you give me any life? My last boyfriend gave me his life force and saved me from death.
I
How
only
can you
got
top
candy
that?
for Valentine's Day, and yeah.
You didn't even put a ring on it. I mean, but if you had told me, asked me 6 months ago what I thought about relations, like I said, that was plenty. And since then, I've listened to a bunch of Star Wars audiobooks. So I listened to Last Shot, I listened to Afra, I listened to The Courtship of Princess Leia, and right there in the title is about relationships. The Courtship of Princess Leia, and that was a Legends book. And Leia had another suitor. She had someone who was competing for her love. This guy from another star system. And I can't believe how much I enjoyed the story. The book was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And it wasn't even just the Leia and the Leia love triangle, whatever. But there was a love interest for Luke. There was a Luke love triangle going on. Kind of, it was really well written, and it made me think that stories like that just made the characters seem more real, seem more full. Um, so it was surprising to me, and in a couple of them, I think even, was it, from a certain point of view, the Return of the Jedi edition, I thought there were some love stories in that too. And I never would have thought that I would listen to something like that on purpose, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Well, I got most of mine from Zoe's writing today on Star Wars Geek Girl. I refreshed up on that real quick. But yeah, like the Afra book had some, and for a comic book, the Afra book had some too.
Yep.
Um, the it didn't have as much as I thought it would, but the Padme books had different levels. The Handmaiden's book
Okay.
had some different levels. I never read The Courtship of Princess Leia. But I like, for me now, so I got to now try that book since you
Well,
recommended.
here's another thing I liked about that, and so this is where Ken, the rambling guy, goes off tangent a little bit, even though it's about romance. There were some very interesting force powers in that. So I don't want to spoil too much about it, but it involved the witches of Dathomir. So they had, witch magic and the
Hmm.
witch use of the force. Um, and Luke was able to do some wild, wild stuff. Like he survived a crash, a ship crash,
Hmm.
by floating. Like he jumped out of the ship and literally just floated
He
to the
he
ground.
Mary Poppins.
He
Did
Mary
you
Poppins.
he Mary Poppins? Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah.
Wait a minute. We should you need to take that part of the book and put it with all the people that get mad about Leia floating out in
I mean,
space.
and I'm pretty sure at the same time he was able to save another ship from crashing. So he's floating down, and I think in the description, I think he was cross-legged, like floating down after jumping out of an exploding X-wing, while also slowly levitating or descending, however you unlevitate something, lowering another spaceship to the ground, like
Yeah.
in seated Zen pose, just looking to bring the ship to the ground.
Hmm.
There was the
I had no.
transfer of life force.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luke used Jedi healing. You know,
Hmm.
But yeah, there
So.
was there was there was romance. So it was Luke who was pursued by a Dathomirian witch who was also um pursued. Not Luke wasn't pursued by this person, but the guy who was going after Princess Leia.
Hmm.
This girl was also going after. So it was this really weird romantic chess thing going on.
I'm picturing Star Wars Space Thanksgiving, and your half your family is Dathomirian witches, and your other half is Jedi,
Is Jedi?
and and then you have your adopted cousins from Tatooine that don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're levitating the salt and pepper around the
Yeah,
table, and the non-force users just trying to grab it
yeah.
as it goes by.
Give me my space turkey.
Oh,
Yeah.
and C-3PO sang.
Oh, yeah.
C-3PO he wrote a song celebrating Han Solo and why Han Solo was so awesome. You have to listen to it. Don't read it. You have to listen to it.
Okay, okay. Well, see, so that opens up a whole nother, which I know is off topic, but it opens up a whole nother back to our ever growing gripe about the people that hate the new stuff, and they cling to this old stuff, and I'm like, I don't think they've read that old stuff. I mean, the old stuff sounds fine to me. It sounds better when you're telling me like that, but it doesn't sound any less ridiculous than the stuff they're complaining about in new stuff.
It
So,
it is incredibly ridiculous,
and
and
that
it
was a celebrated book. That wasn't like one of the books that just snuck by when they were
yeah.
just like churning out books in the 90s or 2000s. That was a celebrated book. Like that was I wasn't even into the books, and I remember when that came out.
Yeah, it
So,
is. So if anyone is listening and wants, a Star Wars book to listen to, I think that's the one. Even the other ones, the Last Shot and some of the newer ones like the Afro one, that one is awesome. I mean, they have witches riding rancors.
can't go wrong there. But so because when you were talking about love and romance, and I was thinking, because I saw the New Hope when I was 9, and there was just enough romance in that, in the sense that you knew, um, like Luke kind of liked Leia, and Han kind of liked Leia, but it was just enough. It wasn't like it wasn't really part of the story. It was just part of what was going on.
Yeah,
Um, but then I was thinking, so if we have romance, could we have bromance?
goodness, yeah.
And so what's the best bromance in New Hope? And that's Han and Chewie by far.
Well, I don't know if it's bromance though, because that's more of like I'm indebted to you. I'm not hanging out with you because I like you, but I owe you. You saved.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm thinking of New Hope from when I first saw it, not knowing about the life debt and all that stuff. Like Chewie and them were like that was like the best buds. You wanted
Yeah, I
you
could see
wanted the
that.
the best, and R2 and 3PO.
Yeah, see, I would definitely give them the medal for bromance and A New Hope.
Yeah.
And I mean, Biggs and Luke are kind of right up there too.
Yeah.
And I think, Han and Chewie developed the relationship over time, to go into that magical bromance category. But I don't know if I would initially put them there.
Tarkin and Vader.
Oh no. I think Tarkin and Krennic were better bros than
Yeah, yeah.
than Tarkin and Vader, because they both Tarkin and Vader, they both had this quest to be the best. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say Star Wars. If you use Star Wars as your growing up trying to learn stuff, um, it does show a pretty decent variety of people loving each other, and like even shows examples of bad, like Padme and Anakin. That was like a tragedy, but it wasn't blatant. Darth and Savage. Yeah, that's a good one too. Um, Darth Maul, yeah. Um,
what about Pondo and Dr. Ezeban?
oh yeah, there you go.
I mean, they traveled the galaxy together.
She's partial to the Jawas I think it was the Jawas were sitting in front of wasn't there a dewback
A
out there with
dewback,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
and there was like this weird round pod as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, the Jawas, man, that was like other than the Jawas getting shot in troops, getting shot in the head, all the Jawa things were pretty positive. Um, yeah, I mean, the just like I'm thinking like so like it I'm trying to look at relationships too. Like I think of Obi-Wan's my two favorite speeches I think in the original trilogy is Obi-Wan's speech when he's telling Luke about he's telling him a vague recollection of his father, but you can see, and it's just Alec Guinness acting. You can see him reminiscing about the good times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he um
he was a
for
great pilot and a cunning warrior and a
yeah.
great friend or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it was just that delivery of how he said it, and then I think of Yoda's speech with the Force, and I think of, like, that relationship Yoda had with the Force, like, I think it took his exile to Dagobah to pretty much realize that that's like, I don't think Yoda would have had that same speech he gave Luke before he went to Dagobah. As wise as Yoda was, I think that was forgotten at some point by him.
Well, yeah, and I think that's one of the things that the prequels did a great job of, is showing that you can take something that starts off pure and innocent, like the worship of the Force, and how it became dogmatic and extreme, which actually led to their own downfall. If they had stayed true to the early teachings,
Mhm.
then it may not have, led to what happened. And if they had stayed true to that, we wouldn't have had the stories that we had. And I think that's
Right,
one of
right.
the fantastic things about it, is we're able to see not just the errors of individuals and the ways to overcome those errors or to learn from those errors, but also how groups of people can make errors, and not from a place of evil. I mean, I don't think the Jedi were doing anything deliberately malicious. They just got blinded, literally and figuratively, as they went along. And going back to this thing of relationships, it's interesting that they chose to pick up a quality of many religious faiths, that if you want to be a leader in this particular faith, you have to let go of romantic relationships.
Yeah.
And even in today's day and age, we know how well that goes. I mean, how
Yeah,
many times
right,
have you heard
right.
of the
Yeah.
scandal where the priest was romantically involved with the administrative assistant of the parish, or a nurse at the local school, or whatever.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah, yeah, that's I mean, yeah, and then those relationships are like because that's where Anakin was destined to fail because he went from only having a relationship with his mother at a very young age and then he goes off to, you know, to celibate monks to be raised, you know,
Yes.
which apparently all these, like, Obi-Wan wasn't all that celibate, and so
Well, he could have been celibate.
yeah,
If I'm understanding the definition of what celibacy
yeah, yeah,
means.
yeah,
But it didn't
yeah,
mean he didn't have those longings. I mean, he
yeah.
just, you know,
So
um,
and then, but then back to our relationships, like, especially, I'm just thinking New Hope. I'm just trying, because there's tons of relationships in the books, and like there's Afro with the relationship and all those. But I'm trying to think of ones that just people identify, and I think of like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru when they were just that, like, and especially it was fleshed out more with Obi-Wan, Obi
yeah.
Kenobi show.
Well, I mean, in A New Hope, the relationship between Owen and Beru was pretty hot.
Yeah, but he also, but he was he
Sam,
at the
I
end.
wish John were
I know.
here. John, John would have brought something up about that
I
one.
know. Well, no, but see, remember that was if you watched Troops, that's behind the scenes where it was a drunken fight
Yep,
and she blew him up.
yep,
Um, no, but I mean, like Owen was so concerned about Luke that he was like he was trying to keep him there because
yeah. Overly protective.
he knew what path he was going to eventually follow
Yeah.
anyway, you know, um, which is tough.
And for
I
the rest of the original trilogy, other than Owen and Beru, well, I guess you could say we saw Ewok families.
Yeah,
But we didn't necessarily pick up on the romance part of it. We just saw them existing as family units. The only other family or romantic couple was Han and Leia. I mean, Lando tried to be, slick and smooth and everything like that, but I don't think
yeah,
it
yeah,
got far.
yeah.
And then if we go to the prequel trilogy, man, there's bunches of relationships peppered throughout that.
Well, just Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Like that was a found that was kind of a found family because his son was technically him, but he was super protective of him,
Yep.
like
Well, and think about it. I mean, so his payment was money and a son.
yeah,
He wanted to be a dad. Of
right,
all of the things in the unit, he
yeah,
wanted a dad. He wanted to be a dad.
yeah,
And I don't know if there was a thing between Django and Zam Wessel or not.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that's just fans trying. What's the term that the kids are using now? Shipping.
Shipping, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if folks shipped Zam Wessel and Django Fett.
Jang West, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
Wango.
Yeah, it just gets worse the more you say it.
Um, so there was that relationship. There was the Anakin and Padme.
Anakin and Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah, and that one was a tough one because at first, Obi-Wan wasn't having it. He wasn't
Yeah,
interested in it at all. He did it out of obligation.
yeah,
So um, Qui-Gon trusted Obi-Wan to follow through on that awkward promise he made while he was dying.
yeah. Well, and Qui-Gon had that quick little brief with Shmi.
Yeah, that little hand on the shoulder
That
thing.
was like, yeah. But yeah, and then, well, Anakin and all his friends, like that was a
Yeah, Kitster
yeah,
and
that was a
and the
relationship
group.
made in the worst sense, in the sense, I don't know if they were all slaves, but
I think they were because Kitster actually earned his. I think he became an apprentice or something, and earned his ability to pay for his freedom.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's a friendship and a bond made in an odd place.
Well,
Josh,
even with Watto and Shmi and Anakin, I mean, even though he was quote unquote their master, their owner, he still showed a little bit of kindness to
yeah,
to
yeah,
to Anakin as a kid. He's like, "Oh, just clean up and then go home."
yeah,
He didn't whip them or anything like they did with the slave kids on Canto Bite.
right, right, yeah, right, yeah. So I mean, he was and then well, and then you had Palpatine and Anakin. Like
Mhm.
there's a relationship that was, you know,
Well, if you
odd.
read the comics, there was supposed to be a relationship with Plagueis, Palpatine, and Shmi that they
Wow.
supposedly had worked to manipulate the midichlorians. You know, that's just where that's kind of the conception of Anakin, I guess.
Yeah. Now is that Legends? That's Legends right now.
I don't know. I can't remember if I don't remember when that
I
comic
think
came out.
Plagueis was like Plagueis, and there was like that was right around the time they made the line. So I don't know
Okay,
which
yeah,
side it fell on.
which part of the border it fell on?
Yeah. Um, well, and if you want to say relationships, if you go into the clone Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars, um, the relationships that the Republic made with all these outer planets that eventually became the basis for the Empire, like when they flipped the switch. So you had these good guys just, oh, we're just going to put a base here so we can protect you from X, Y, and Z, and then all of a sudden, oh, guess what? Yeah, you have, the Empire's here now, and
Yep.
there was, I think of like the Wookiee planet. They had all the guys helping them, and then all of a sudden they just turn on the Wookiees. You know, um,
Well, and that's where the interpersonal relationships broaden out into, you know, businesses or governments or
mhm.
whatever. And trust falls in line there too. Do you trust the politicians? Do you trust the businesses that you buy from to provide safe goods to you?
Right?
I mean, there were some episodes in the Clone Wars where there was like, poisoned tea
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Hey, keep your politics out of my Star Wars. Um, yeah, no, I mean, and you look on the evil side, like you look on the Trade Federation and all of those guys, like they thought they had a good relationship with uh Plagueis, and surprise, just go to this molten planet, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna send someone to take care of
yeah.
you.
We're gonna do an offsite meeting.
Yeah.
That's why that's why I always worry about some of those kind
Yeah.
of things. That we're gonna have what do they call it? A retreat?
Yeah, we're gonna have a retreat at the landfill.
Yeah,
Don't pack anything, please.
yeah. Please bring please bring two black trash bags and a roll of duct tape.
Yeah. Supply, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna do some team building activities.
and then the newer movies, I think it always falls on the Force Awakens for me. And I think of that relationship with Finn and Ray when they go to rescue Ray, and Finn is they realize that Ray didn't need him to rescue her at all. But when he was just so happy she was found, and she was even more happy that he even came back for her, because
Yeah,
she had been left, even though we find out later the reason she was left was a better reason. But in that first episode, when she realized someone was actually willing to come back to get her, like I just that was super amazing to me. Just that scene I thought was really good.
well, there was several things with that. There was that scene, and then there was the piece about Han Solo, this famous general, this smuggler who was going to offer this person he had just met a job. So she's like, Me, like, I've had to beg, plead, borrow, fight to stay alive, and here you're gonna, offer me some safety, some security,
Yeah,
to be part of something, and then of course, Han being Han downplayed the mushiness of it, downplayed the responsibility. Well, we're not gonna pay much,
yeah,
the hours won't be good or whatever,
yep,
you know.
yeah. Well, that's what, Zoe just said what I said in way less words and much better. So
Well, actually, in a way, she did need to be rescued because she wasn't going to. If it was up to her and her alone, I don't think she would have left Jakku.
no, I mean, but I'm
So
talking about she needed when she was in Starkiller Base. Remember when she was at Star Killer Base? She had already freed herself, was heading for a ship.
Yeah, but she didn't. At the same time, she didn't necessarily know where she was
Oh
going.
yeah, yeah,
So even though she didn't necessarily need someone to physically save her, she definitely needed that relationship. She needed um, that
she needed. Yeah,
other, not to complete her, not like
yeah.
you know whatever that, I can't remember that movie now, with Tom Cruise. You
Oh
complete
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. I don't know
Didn't
that.
need that, but just goes to show that at, in order for individuals to be successful, they have to be part of something bigger. They
Yeah,
need to, it takes a village, or that kind of idea. We need to rely on each other for support, and so on.
yeah. Well, and then Josh brought up Clone Force 99. So I thought, I mean, we still got plenty of time to talk, but to end the love and relationship thing, we should end it on Clone Force 99 because we have what? Are we a week away?
Yeah, it's next Wednesday.
Yeah, so we're a week away. So we can end on Clone Force 99. So there's a group of outcasts, kind of. Not, are they outcasts or just,
Yeah, they actually call themselves Strandcasts.
yeah,
You
so
know,
and it shows the tight bonds they have, and they're all extremely different and extremely the same at the same time, if that makes sense.
well, I think that's one of another one of the great things about the clones themselves. So on paper, they're genetically identical.
Yeah.
However, they all express uniqueness. So they're raised in the same environment. They're given the same kind of teachings. Many of them even physically start off looking the same, and then as humans, they choose to have individuality. Like, I'm gonna specialize in how to use this weapon, or I'm gonna develop my muscles a certain way, or I'm
Or
gonna
paint my helmet this way.
paint my helmet this way. Absolutely. And the Bad Batch is unique because even though they're in some ways genetically identical, they do have those additional traits. I mean, Wrecker is ginormous, and Tech, his eyesight isn't all that great, so he needs to wear glasses, but he's super duper smart and socially awkward. And
Yeah.
that one scene where he and Omega were talking about emotions, and he said to say, we just experience them different. It doesn't mean we don't have the emotion.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just express them and experience them differently. And I thought that was a very special thing. And like you were saying, they're they're genetically similar, yet their relationships with Omega are unique. The things they teach her are unique. And on the flip side, Omega does a fantastic job of teaching them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that wonderful give and give of the relationship.
Yeah. And I mean, but now we know Tech can't fly. No, is that too soon?
He can't fly well
He can't fly.
without a ship.
He I heard he lands really well.
Well, it wasn't. Well, truly, it wasn't the fall that killed him
Right. It was that sudden stop.
at the bottom.
I was harassing so many techs at
In London.
Celebration. It was borderline. They were going to throw me out of England for it. They were going to throw me off the continent. Bring that continent thing back. No. No, but yeah, I and the clones in general. And I was saying this to Josh, I think today. I talked a lot of Star Wars today. I like the first episode of the Clone Wars when it's Yoda and Ventress. That's my favorite clone. I've yet to see an episode of Clone Wars that I like more than that. And it's because Yoda gives them the speech of like, take off your helmets. You're all individuals, this and that. And it's almost like a capstone to when the clones are the ones who killed the Jedi. Like the only overall group of people that saw them as individuals are the first people they killed. Because I think the metaphor of how we treat our soldiers in real life in this country, like everyone is always rah rah for the soldiers and flag and this and that until the soldier comes home, and then we're just what do we do with them? Which then attached to Bad Batch, you have the one guy who looks like Rambo. I always think of that speech at the end of Rambo where he talks about like how when I was in the military, I could be entrusted with millions of dollars of equipment, and now I can't even get a job. and I think the Clone Wars is trying at some point to make people think about that.
Well, and I mean, you get to even so they're rah 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 soldier, they're rah 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 military, and then when you ask them what they have done in that, like, oh, like I didn't know that that's the kind of things that you did. I didn't. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'm not so rah rah. I mean, and that's one of the harsh realities of the world. It's that there are both sides of the same thing, and if you're gonna respect it, if you're gonna love it, you have to love it in its entirety.
yeah.
You can't.
Well, and again, I'm thinking too, just of how the kids who come back get treated. Like they had that beggar clone in Kenobi.
Yep.
Where he was one of the he was part of what saved the galaxy to from whatever, and now he's begging. So
Well, and I think that also highlighted, the Jedi teachings because Obi-Wan could have just walked by him. He
yeah,
didn't, he didn't necessarily know this soldier. He may have, it's possible, and he still offered to help. Still,
yeah,
gave something to this individual. At personal peril, at personal
yeah.
risk. I mean, that guy could have. I know you.
He
You're
could have ordered 66 to him already. Yeah,
again.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So that's I mean that's and the Bad Batch is it's going to be an odd. It's going to be an. I'm curious what's going to happen in the Bad Batch. Um,
Well, do you want to go a few minutes over and do some
Speculate.
speculating? I
All
can.
right, let's speculate Bad Batch. So we're done on love and relationships, so you don't have to worry. We're not going to get any more mushy. But speculation. I
Well,
said no.
actually, I do want before we get. I do
Okay.
want to talk about one more mushy thing,
Okay.
and it has to do with Poe, Ray, and Finn.
Okay.
So in the Rise of Skywalker at the end, and they had that huge hug. The three of them having just returned from Exegol and winning everything, and to be so happy, even though at the beginning of the movie they were sarcastic and
Hmm.
and biting and jabbing at each other, and at the end they came back to that friendship, that love, that trust, and just that heartfelt embrace with the three of them.
I felt that was very New Hope-ish when they kept in the throne room. Like at the end when they're. I felt that was a slight nod, at least in my mind, to
Yeah.
New Hope's end.
Well, and Chewie got his medal. Like
Yeah, and Chewie got his medal. Yeah,
Chewie was gifted a medal.
yeah, yeah. That was a super way to end that. For those that like that movie, for
Now,
us few.
according to Josh, to get back onto the track of speculation, that Tech's alive. That he, the whatever that evil scientist guy was, he was just toying with everybody, throwing his goggles on the table. So maybe Tech is in that prison with Crosshair and Omega.
What if he's a head like in Futurama? He's in one.
In a jar.
And
They put his brain in a Balmoral monk
yeah,
spider.
yeah. That's yeah, yeah. It's hard to speculate because you never know what Filoni's going to do or whoever's. I don't know if how much Filoni's in charge of this one. Um, but like my dream ending would be they all go to their secret base on Alderaan. And then you just end that in one.
Yeah, they did. They never made it out.
Look at the moon. Boom.
Like
Okay.
they had a clone refugee camp on Alderaan or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like
They
that. Or
they Alderaan said we'll take all the clones.
they will gladly. We have room for them. This is a
Yeah.
this is a peaceful planet.
And they thought when Vader brought balance to the Force, it was mainly when they blew up Alderaan. Like all the Jedi were hiding there. Just
That's where
someone's
the
gonna.
path led. So
Yeah,
everybody.
everything's okay. You're safe here on Alderaan. We don't have any weapons. Oh, great. So, yeah. Um. No, I mean, I would
Actually,
imagine that the story is going to propel some of them forward to another story, like Omega possibly.
yeah.
I, as much as I hate to say it, I'll be surprised if more than one of the Bad Batch survives.
Okay.
I hope that all of them do, but
Well, we know Rex does, and he's not a member of the Bad
he's
Batch.
not. But I'm saying of the, I'd
Of
be
that
I
core.
I could see Echo giving his life to save some of them because Echo's had a good run.
Okay. I can definitely see Hunter doing that too.
Yeah. See, are they? I often think too with those guys. I really like the Bad Batch, but I don't know if I like them as the Bad Batch. Like I don't know if individually I would have as much love for them as I do as a whole.
So, to go back to the '80s, do you think a B.A. Baracus TV show would have been as
No,
successful as the A Team?
no,
So so
that's what I'm.
so a Wrecker spinoff wouldn't be as powerful as the Bad Batch as a whole.
No, because I think the reflection of their strengths and weaknesses on each other is what makes them a good team and what makes it watchable. Because Wrecker by himself is just a really strong character, like strong, like physical strength.
Well, and what's interesting about Wrecker is he's really physically strong, and at the same time, he's like a child.
Yeah,
He's compassionate and kind and playful. I mean, this guy who can blow things up. That's what he loves. He just loves to blow things up. Has a stuffed animal.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the baddest of the bad snuggles with a squishy,
yeah,
in his little bed that looks out into the stars.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, because I feel like I even missed some of the teams since Crosshair isn't with them. You know, like I liked. So I don't know. I don't know because I haven't read any of the titles. I've been a bad fan, but I try not to read the titles ahead of time because I like to just watch it. You know,
Yeah.
but I just think the Bad Batch in some way, shape, or form is going to propel Omega's story forward.
Oh goodness, yeah. Because I think they're gonna figure out a way of tying this more closely to whatever cloning was being done.
Yeah,
Because what's that phrase? Somehow Palpatine returned. So
yeah,
I think somehow there's going to be, a thread that weaves into that. I mean, they're at Mount Tannis, which is where cloning happened in the expanded universe. For those people who never read the expanded universe stuff, um, we know that they're using the Kaminoans technology.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I just don't see because even Rex by himself seems different than Rex with the other clones. Like and he was okay in Rebels and stuff, but he wasn't as good as he was before. Uh-oh. I got a big post from Zoe here. Oh, there we go.
oh, okay, that's good to know.
Oh, good.
Sometimes I say stuff that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Zoe.
So, I mean, Tech could be alive. It would be nice, but I think that, like I want to see a something with Wolf and Gregor.
Well, and go back to what I was saying about Cut. I mean, Cut's still out there.
Yeah, and
You know,
Cody.
and the Bad Batch met up with Cut.
Yeah,
Cody, like you said, Cody's out there, and I'm wondering, this is like way out in left field, sort of. What about Boba Fett?
yeah.
Because
See, that's the other thing. They could bring. I mean, because he's the only other unaltered clone,
yeah,
so he has, in some way, he has to watch his back too. You know. Um, yeah, Zoe jumped in on Boba too.
because I think this is the time where he's still being, he's being raised by that foster family with
Yeah, the worst
with
foster family ever.
yeah, with Aura Singh and Bosk
Yeah,
and
it's like
yeah,
the poster child of who not to let your kids
you
what.
know, and which
Uh,
is the other end of the spectrum, so this episode has been about love, trust, and relationships. That's one that's
Nature versus nurture, right there,
yeah,
buddy.
that's a really messy one.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I'm curious what they're going to do with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Tech again, but I also don't want to see them um belittle his death either. You know what I mean by having him come back. Like if you have everyone come back every time, you know. Oh yeah, well they could use that because I mean the whole Bad Batch came from the cut scenes. Remember the Bad Batch was the animatics that never got made.
Well, there were some animatics of the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
But
that's what
then
I'm saying.
again,
But that's what
yeah,
isn't that what kind of led them to do the Bad Batch because of the people really loved those animatics and
yeah,
they were
definitely.
rough to watch. They were rough. They were they were pretty. I remember watching them, and I think it was one of them. I think it was Anakin's eye, like because the eyes weren't animated, so they were just like constantly open.
Constantly. I don't even know if they had lids or anything like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
it was really
If you
creepy.
can ever, Josh, if you're listening, if you can ever find the animatics of the Bad Batch originals, man, they are freaky to watch. Um, yeah.
Well, it also makes me wonder. You mentioned Cad Bane. Um, are we so one of the things that broke the brains of nerds a couple weeks ago is when they showed that trailer for the Bad Batch, and they brought Asajj in.
Yeah, yeah.
So are we going to see flashbacks of Asajj? um it'll be interesting to see how Asajj fits into the storyline.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was flashbacks or she's back or, you know, again, her death was so good in the book that I'm always happy when they bring people back, but I'm also if you bring everybody back, then the deaths start to mean nothing. You
Yeah,
know.
and I don't I trust. Speaking of trust, I trust them enough to honor what they've already created.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think even with you know the Darth Maul being cut in half and surviving it, I thought that was a fantastic storyline, and how they've managed to take that villainous character from one movie that people loved the look of, and to stretch him out over two animated shows and include him into Solo and a whole comic book run. Yeah, he was
yeah.
one of those characters that his resurrection was wonderfully done, and
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
truly appreciate.
And I think Ventress can be done right if she comes back too, because I also have to remember that a lot of people don't read the books. Even there are diehard fans that are just never going to read the books. It's just not their wheelhouse for fandom. So, you know. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll trust Filoni. In Filoni, I trust. I have, I have no qualms with what Dave Filoni has done so far. So,
And
um,
even I think Ventress is another one of those characters that has had a wild story, and on some of the stories you're rooting against her, like, oh my goodness, we have to stop this evil person from doing this evil thing. And then in other stories, like, wow, she's like, I can understand why she made the choices that she made because of the things that she has been through.
well, and her in the shorts in the original Clone Wars shorts, she was pretty awesome when she was fighting in that big arena with
Yeah,
with the monsters. That was
that's
a
how
good.
she became Dooku's secret apprentice.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I know Liz and Sal are hoping she comes back because Liz can get her Ventress costume back out. So, um,
Well, that night sister magic.
yeah, yeah. So that's it. We got. So next week, what time does the bad batch come on?
Is it 8 p.m.?
All right, so we'll be competing with them on. We might have to
Should we delay our
we might have
show?
to delay our show or something.
'Cause
But
I don't think we can move it
no,
earlier.
yeah, we'll figure something out. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like next week would be cool. My students want to watch the Bad Batch for Star Wars Club, but I can't. I tried today with the iPad. I tried using Disney Plus and it was not fun. So I broke down and bought um, The Mandalorian season 1 on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. So we're gonna finish watching Mando season 1. So
Zoe's saying it's on Tuesday.
oh, that's even better. Is it like Tuesday at midnight or?
Because I thought it was the 21st. And I've been wrong with numbers before.
I don't know, but anyway, we'll have the Bad Batch to watch, which is exciting. So Josh and I will get nothing done during our planning on Wednesdays. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have class on Tuesday, so hopefully it does it. So
Actually,
anyway,
it's saying here let's see. Disney Plus typically drops the new series at midnight, so it might be one of those things again where we're watching it in the morning.
yeah. Well, there's Percy Jackson. We'll see. Disney. I think Disney Plus is trying to figure out what they're doing for numbers, and I think the midnight release. I thought the midnight release was always good, but maybe they're trying to. I think maybe they want more buzz than buzz at like 2 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like maybe I mean, I guess there's no right time. Like whenever you release it,
Yeah.
like
Well, one of the as goofy as it sounds, having those early morning releases were fantastic for me because what I would do is I'd get up early,
yeah,
I'd watch them twice because the first time I was half asleep, and then I would watch them a third time later that day when I watched them with Heather. So I was able to in a single day because they were only like 20, 30 minutes, 40
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
at the most, maybe an hour or whatever. I get to watch them several times in one day. Um, but if when was it Andor? Was it Andor the one that came out at night, or was that Ahsoka?
Ahsoka came out at night.
Yeah. So with the Ahsoka one, I had the whole day of getting ready for it and then watching it that night. Like, okay, I guess I'll watch it tomorrow too. But
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I grew up and you grew up in appointment television, and there was something to be said about that. Like it comes down to actually just watching stuff. Like we had to watch stuff when I was a kid, like you might never see it again. And I think the downside to what we do now is you watch it, but you have your phone on you, or you watch, you know what I mean? Like, and it does hurt. Here we go. Let's see. What's Josh asking here?
oh, he's talking about the new video game. Well, he's got to be careful hanging out with us because he might get locked in the basement just because to keep him away from us.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm so far like halfway through the year and haven't missed a day of work. So it's just easier. It's just I haven't been sick. Now if I'm sick, I'm going to miss work, but it's just been easier not to miss work in the new job I have. Because sub plans for when I was a computer teacher, sub plans were easy. This is not the same. So, so we got anything to wrap up with, Ken?
I just love this show,
Yeah,
and
do too.
I trust that we're gonna have more episodes.
Yeah. Well, and again, we're working towards Fan Expo. I don't know what's going to happen. We put in for panels, and I have a troop coming up, so I'll have troop time next week.
That's awesome.
And I'll probably have armor time because I got to pull my. I haven't worn my TK since we were filming, so I got to make sure I didn't break something and forgot about it. So I got to.
Or that all the pieces are there because you may have put something in the glove box of the car. Forgot about it.
Yeah, so I got to figure all that out. So, but anyway, till next week, guys. Remember, you can probably find this song, Josh. You just got to look under. I forget who the guy's name is now, but I did
Just look
message him.
up. Is it Xbox Connect Star Wars?
Xbox Connect Star Wars solo. It's a good message too. But again, see you all in a week. I'm going to start this.
Happy
now.
Valentine's Day,
Happy
everybody.
Valentine's Day. Wrong.
I used to put my faith in starships, but then my Falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. You know I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got cash shaking my heels tonight, baby.
No disrespect to my man here, but you ready for the real deal superstar?